Forbidden desires typically refer to intense, passionate longings or wishes that are considered taboo, prohibited, or socially unacceptable within a particular cultural or moral context. Dracula and the Bloody Chamber, though separated by several decades, provide intriguing opportunities to compare and contrast the themes of forbidden desires within the framework of Gothic literature.
Chamber. The protagonist is initially depicted as virginal through her white muslin, however, this is contrast when she's marked by a heart-shaped stain. This could be viewed as emblematic of her desire to transgress against societal expectations of the traditional passive woman. This could ultimately advocate gender equality as she transforms from a Justine to a Juliet, displaying that those who conform to the patriarchy will meet their demise. This is evident due to her escaping her death, however. Her transgression is limited due to her mother being the heroine of the short story, displaying her continuous possession.
In The Lady in the House of Love, the protagonist dominates and manipulates men to kill them, subverting the idea of the helpless woman. However, Carter's intention is limited by the use of supernatural. As the protagonist is a vampire, this can be interpreted as villainizing sexual expression, as she objectifies herself to exploit men. Mr. Lion is initially perceived as a feared dominant character, but is later revealed that he represses his feminine traits to conform to societal norms. This is evident through his golden hairs and agate eyes, connoting feminine traits.
Dracula's influence over Lucy in Chapter 10 is another example of how the exploring of sexual desires can lead to devastating consequences. Dracula uses his supernatural lore to manipulate Lucy's desires. He exerts a magnetic, hypnotic influence on her, which is also depicted in the 1992 Dracula film, where Lucy sleepwalks towards the church, leading to her growing obsession with him. The seductive nature of the vampire archetype, as represented by Dracula, often serves as a symbol of forbidden desires and the inability to maintain restraints.
We see Mina adherence to traditional Victorian values and her role as a faithful and supportive wife to Jonathan. For example, she wants to be able to be useful to him. Mina remains devoted to her husband even when she fears for his safety, waiting patiently for his return from Transylvania. Lucy is portrayed as the opposite of Mina. Lucy receives 3 marriage proposals in one day, revealing her flirtatious nature and lack of restraint in her interactions with men.
Like the protagonist in The Bloody Chamber, Jonathan also enters a forbidden locked room in Chapter 3 of Dracula, where he meets the brides of Dracula. This could be interpreted as him giving in to forbidden desires as he deliberately disobeys Dracula's instruction to go anywhere you wish in the castle except where the doors are locked by entering. In the chamber, Carter awards her female characters for giving in to their forbidden desires. The protagonist of the titular short story also chooses her husband, being sure she wants to marry him, however, ends up detesting him. One interpretation of this could be that it reflects Carter's own life. Like the protagonist, she also married as a teenager, wanting to escape her own controlling mother, however ended up, as said by Simone de Beauvoir, complicit in reinforcing her own unfreedom, trapped within her marriage as a housewife. The fact that the Marquis has the chamber in the first place shows how he is proud of his hidden desire to kill, so keeps his kills in his enfer, like a huntsman would.
Dracula serves as a cautionary example of the dangers of living without restraint, emphasizing the destructive consequences of unchecked desires and the transgression of societal boundaries. The figure of Count Dracula embodies the dangers of unrestrained desires, particularly sexual desires. His vampiric nature, for example, there was no reflection of him in the mirror, is a symbol of sexual predation.
In The Tiger's Bride, the dangerous sexual desires are vividly portrayed through the transformation of the protagonist. The transformation is a metaphor for the act of shedding inhibitions and living without self-imposed restraint, particularly in the realm of sexuality.
In The Snow Child, the story explores the transformative power of desire and the limits of human nature. The protagonist's initial act of longing, sculpting a child from snow, unleashes a series of consequences that highlight the peril of unchecked desires.
In The Werewolf, the theme of sexuality and transformation is explored. The story reinterprets the traditional fairy tale of Little Red Riding Hood, infusing it with sensual and feminist perspectives. Carter uses the werewolf motif to symbolise primal desires often associated with sexual awakening and the complexities of human nature. The narrative delves into the intersection of lust, danger and liberation, offering a nuanced exploration of sexual themes within a fairy tale framework.